Okay, everybody, welcome back again to another video. Here we have a 1947 or 48, somewhere in there, Delco, made by General Motors. Yes, the General Motors that made cars, obviously. This is a Model R, I think it's a 1410, and it actually shares a lot of components with car radios of that time, like the IF frequency is 262. I think it's 262. I know it's whatever the cars were using. It's got low volt tubes because this is a portable set, and it just looks like right out of a 1947 or 48 Chevy, Buick, Oldsmobile, whatever. And I really like that. It gets my automotive side going. This is entirely original, and it does work. However, it doesn't work very well. Our filter capacitor is still in really good condition, which is a plus, but all the old waxies underneath are really hindering the performance. Because this is a 3-gang tuning section radio, but it only gets one station, even at night. So it really should be performing way better than that, and I think that those horrible capacitors underneath are probably the culprit for that. So we're going to leave the filter in circuit because it is showing, I mean, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. But those under chassis capacitors are going to get changed. Coming around to the back, it's pretty bland and boring. For some reason, the Sony logo is on the back for, I have no idea why. I'm guessing that something made out of like pleather or whatever, maybe like a case for some Sony appliance was sitting on this, and it got hot and sticky, and then yeah, it just kind of left a imprint on that. But it's on there pretty good, you know. Take a darn wire brush to take that off, so I'm probably just gonna leave that because it's on the back. So I mean, I actually forgot that was there until I turned this thing around. Let's open it up and have a little look. It's pretty typical of a battery operated radio from this era. You have your battery connection right here, the little pin out for the big battery that would be in here. You have your AC power cord, pretty standard. Have all your little 1-volt tubes. It looks like the antenna is wrapped around the case right here in between the wood and the leather, because I see that the antenna leads go into the wood. So that's kind of neat. I kind of like that design. Your antenna is in there and it won't get broken. For some reason, we have a random screw sitting in there, and then a little sticker. That would have gone right here originally. Maybe we can glue that back on. This guy right here is what that sticker was referring to. That's our battery and AC switch. If you were running this off of a battery, you would want to take this, and then there's two little slots in there. You just kind of stick it in there. It's hard to do one-handed. Just like that, and it'll hold this in the battery position, because you wouldn't want to leave this in the battery position and plug it into the wall, because everything would you wouldn't be having a good day if you did that. So it's nice that the safety switch was in place. It's got our old school IF cans with the smaller tubes, which is something that you only really see in this era, you know, the post-war 40s, because we were still, at that point in time, we were still using big IF cans, but we were starting to get into the smaller tubes. I'm not sure exactly how this looks compared to a car radio of the time, but this was made in a General Motors factory, the Delco factory, owned by General Motors. This is not some rebadged Arvin or whatever. I just find that really cool. Got kind of a weird thing back here. I don't know what that guy is, but yeah. There's our tube layout with what they call a dry rectifier, but that's a selenium rectifier. That's what that's commonly called. So yeah, I got it right. It was a R-1410
17 watts.
We do have a reliable long life tube that's actually made in Germany, interestingly enough. This is a 3V4 made on the 36th week of 1957. Just to kind of demonstrate how good that filter capacitor still is, I have it plugged in and we're just going to have a little listen. This is on all original components.
And this goes back to COVID, mentioning that if you test positive, you may want to ask your doctor. I don't know anything about your health or your previous, pre-existing conditions or comorbidities you may have. I'm not a doctor.
Can get your
I'm not the person that
daily dosage of propaganda. Here we are with the radio. This is just the radio portion. Speaker is still in there, as is the actual physical dial. No dial light on this. Our construction is marginal. There's just a nub right here for the tuning string. No little wheel for it to run on, which is it's not a great way to do it, but this one's lasted this long, so I guess it's fine. Take a look at some of these tubes. That one's an original Delco. 30th week of 1948. So this is a 1948. Very cool. It's another original Delco. Oh, 52nd week of 1958. So this might actually be a 1949. That's an original Delco. 30th week of 1948. 52nd week of 1948. It's an original Delco. 1U5. So our only replacement is this reliable long life tube right here from 1957. So I guess this wasn't used super regularly back in the day, which is probably why things have held up so nicely. But yeah, let's get under the chassis. You know, Radio TV Phono Nut actually has an excellent long-form video on this model of radio. I haven't watched it in full, but I've watched enough to kind of get familiar with this model. And he seemed to also think that this shares a lot of parts with a car radio of this time. So, yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool to me. It doesn't look like the huge resistor right here gets hot enough to scar the wood, not like what this selenium rectifier is doing. But yeah, our waxies got a little hot. You can tell that they've gotten pretty warm in their life, so it is best to change them. I kind of feel bad because this does work with them in circuit, but you know what, it doesn't work well, so it's gonna have to be done. And I do have a radio in my collection also from 1948 that is completely original, that works perfectly, completely original, and I am keeping it like that. So don't worry, I do recognize that if it's possible to keep these, you can, and it'll be fine, but these ones have just gotten a little too hot for my liking, so we're going to change them. In other news, this capacitor kit sucks because there's no 0.01 at 600 volts. There's 0.01 at 400, but come on, guys. Got the Bojack Horseman brand 15 value 150 piece made in China kit. So yeah, this might be an interesting one. We might be doing either some risky business or just not getting things perfect. So preferably just not having to get things perfect. This is a 0.2 at 400. Yep, I have that. Okay, so some of these I do have. That's promising. Here's a little closer view at that selenium rectifier. It's a Federal brand. Federal, I think they were called like Federal Telephone and Telegraph or something. Or no, it was the Federal Telephone Company, which was a division of International Telephone and Telegraph. So, neat little piece of history right there. Okay, so we have all of our capacitors replaced. As long as you don't look too close, it should be pretty good. So let's throw this thing back together and see if it performs a little better. If it performs at all. Okay, we were all plugged in and ready to go. Just have this thing plugged into the wall, so hopefully nothing bad happens. No variac. Sometimes.
Only on number 2. Call Turn Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million.
What do you know?
Life
It
insurance
works.
that you can live with. Call Big.
The dial pointer is a little off. It's reading about 1350 right now when this station is actually 1240. So I think that's just a matter of kind of just bumping the dial over.
Now this, he seemed to have more hands than a normal human being somehow. They would seem to be all over him.
This woman says Fayed assaulted her in 1977, 8 years before he bought Harrods. So the idea that his assaults began there.
Some of our capacitors were showing signs of getting really hot. I'm trying to find one specifically that was basically just busted open. Here's one right here that got really hot. See how that end popped out down there, and then up here it's also kind of popped out. So yeah, that's not good. So yeah, here we are.
Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Sounds like we're getting something really distant. I think that's a Chicago station. There's another one.
Window Depot, NorthwestWisconsin.com. Window Depot, we create happy customers.
Northwest Wisconsin, that's where I am. Let's get copyright infringement.
It is important to take pleasure, to celebrate the success of your friends.
There's another one. Another.
Great taste. And that is why.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.